Ignition sequence starts. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
Hey everybody, this is the Digital Asset Investor, and I am drinking a thing of Diet Dr. Pepper here, but what I want is a glass of wine. It's been a long week. Well, let's get this. I'm going to knock this out. I got a lot of good stuff here. Charles Gasparino was tweeting, and this person right here, Liz AZ, said, Charles, have you noticed the number of likes, retweet, responses to your Ripple reports compared to your other stories? The public is telling you where their interests are. Thank you for your incredible job covering this. So, and so I so agree. He's getting all kinds of traction because he's uncovering the truth, folks. There's this funny thing about the truth. It happens to draw people's attention. In these times we're in, seems like not many people tell the truth anymore. And so when you're telling the truth and you're actually saying what people are thinking, but they feel like they're being lied to in these times about all sorts of things. I know I do. It's refreshing. They're like, someone I can actually trust. So that's not a coincidence that all of his likes and retweets are going up. People have been craving for anyone that would come out of somewhere and tell the truth about all this. Then I said, this is my dad, the official father of the Digital Asset Investor channel, gave me this idea. Is Charles Gasparino about to become the Woodward and Bernstein of crypto? Hashtag SECgate. Got this idea from the official father. Anyway, I like the sound of that hashtag SECgate. And I can promise you this. If Charles Gasparino does not stop on this story, he could very well become the Woodward and Bernstein of crypto. That's the key. Now, I forgot to check in earlier with the official cool guy. You have to check in with the official cool guy of the Digital Asset Investor channel on a Friday.
All right, second.
That's when the cool guys come out.
You got to hit that SEC Commissioner, Gary Gensler. Gary. Are you there? He testified in front of the Senate Banking and Finance Committee this week. 3 things they're going after, fam. Stable coins, which I would go after because some of them are sketchy, not because they're securities. 2, DeFi. Remember, DeFi is a threat to the banks, but there's also fraud out there. People lose money all the time. They give their tokens, they think they're getting interest, and then the company disappears. And then exchanges. The government wants to control the flow of money, the flow of orders, the flow of custody. They're not going to let 1,000 exchanges do their thing. They're going to get them consolidated. They're going after Coinbase to set a precedent. Don't mess with us. Coinbase has the money to defend it. They'll come out smelling like gravy. Remember the companies that got sued by the SEC? Tesla, Amazon, Coinbase, and Ripple. You think they just sue little ones? No, they sue successful ones.
He's got a good point there. Okay. Now, this is probably the most important clip of the day, and it was put out by Leonidas, and Mr. B said, sounds like Gary Gensler was in support of some sort of safe harbor to bring companies into compliance, but also thought they needed clarity. Listen to this. I mean, how freaking absurd is what we're going through?
The people who issued the tokens, are they criminals? What happens to them? And then the people who are holding the tokens, were they scammed, and how do they get redress?
I think regulators around the globe will sort it through, but as you saw in the first of these last summer, the DAO, D-A-O, the SEC chose to write, I think it would be called an order, but they didn't actually then have a civil money penalty that they didn't charge. They just wrote an order and tried to change behavior. I think there is a reasonable case to be made that if you can come into compliance, if the Securities and Exchange Commission gives some number of months, and I don't know what that is right in a period of time, but some number of months or a year or whatever to come into compliance, then they'll look forward. The challenge is Compliance is about disclosure. That's hard to do, but it's doable. Compliance is about the manner of sale. You can't change the manner of sale from 2 years ago, but maybe you can change the manner of sale going forward. Compliance is about beneficial ownership. That's a tricky one. Compliance is about anti-fraud and insider trading rules. So, but I think it's more like, let's look forward, and there's 1,000+ horses running on the field that got out of the barn. We've got to kind of bring them into compliance. And even for Ripple and Ether, or maybe it's, EOS or NEO or something, but for the big market cap ones, there needs to be clarity in the market. And if the clarity in the market is that they're not securities, they might still be commodities, they might still need to comply with all those laws and so forth, but I think it's a period of time. But if you do an issuance now.
Okay, I think that's pretty clear. This is from April 23rd, 2018, right before Ethereum got their free pass. And Gary Gensler is singing a completely different, ridiculous tune now. And Brad Garlinghouse himself replied to that Leonidas video and says, I love Twitter. These guys are watching. They know how pathetic all this is. Listen to this.
Half is Bitcoin, 55% or so in that slide. But Ethereum is quite big. A currency called Ripple that you might hear in the banking sector is probably third, if I remember.
Currency?
But by and large, the thousands of crypto tokens that have come since are highly centralized. Ethereum is centered around the Ethereum Foundation of Vitalik Buterin and a team of developers. There's 70 people that work at the Ethereum Foundation, not all of whom are developers, but,
So, yeah, you heard that right. That's Gary Gensler himself talking about how Ethereum is centered around this and is not decentralized. His tune hasn't changed on that. The only change is he's suing Ripple, and he knows it's not right. Everybody knows it's not right. Charles Gasparino's all over this for a reason, because he knows it is not right. And guess what? Hello, SEC, because Charles Gasparino said today on his Twitter, he said that he is going to, and I'll play the video here in a second, he said that he is going to run a story in the New York Post on Sunday on this whole deal. So there you go. Now the world, because you didn't do the right thing, now the world is about to see very clearly what's going on. Okay, next. Then Charles Gasparino had tweeted this today, and this is important too, and I'll tell you what I see. Ripple's legal team tell Fox Business they have no plans to settle with the SEC over lawsuit on XRP, confident they can show Gary Gensler is in pursuing the cases picking winners and losers in the crypto business to the detriment of innovation. Story developing. Now, a lot of people in XRP land took that as some kind of negative, like, oh no, they're not going to settle. No. If you look down here in the thing, Jeremy Hogan, who is the official attorney that he's the official attorney that analyzes all of the documents in the Ripple case. He's got some kind of such title like that. Anyway, he says legal teams never say they want to settle. It's a sign of weakness. So that doesn't mean anything, but there's a bigger thing that I think a lot of people missed in this. Notice that Ripple did not say that we think that we can prove that XRP is not a security, which is what this whole lawsuit has been about. What they said is they're confident they can show Gary Gensler is pursuing the case in pursuing this case is picking winners and losers in the crypto business. That's almost like they're trying to telegraph to Gary Gensler, we've seen all the videos going around this week. We know what's gone on. That's what I think they're saying here. Because if I was Ripple and their attorneys, that's what I'd be saying. We know exactly what's been going on and what happened and how this Ethereum free pass happened. If they've been watching my videos, I can promise you they know what really went on. And they'll know more after this video's over. And Charles Gasparino is now getting it. Expert, Ripple will win the litigation with the SEC. Now, I'm not going to go into that whole article because I got other things to show you. All right, you remember this morning I showed you this to me is the memo that the Hinman speech was more or less crafted from. This is March 26, 2018. This was sent by the Venture Capital Working Group, which was led by Andreessen Horowitz and Union Ventures. Anyway, Andreessen Horowitz was the lead. Okay, that was sent to them in March, and I showed you today how that speech was crafted from that. Well, look at this. This is Venture Capital Working Group seeks select cryptocurrency safe harbor, not cryptocurrency safe harbor so that everybody can innovate, but just select cryptocurrencies. And it's got a big fat picture of Ethereum right here. And then when you go down, it talks about Andreessen Horowitz and Union Square and all this. Then if you look at this article, this is from October 1st, 2018. The Ledger, why crypto's newest venture capitalists bet millions on an Ethereum stablecoin. Andreessen Horowitz, the prominent Silicon Valley venture capital firm, revealed Monday that it invested $15 million in Maker DAO, and so-called stablecoin project built on Ethereum blockchain. The deal is the first spearheaded by Catherine Hahn, former digital currency task force leader, the U.S. Department of Justice. Catherine Hahn is also the assistant U.S. attorney who signed off on the agreement with Ripple in 2015, where FinCEN declared XRP a virtual currency. Can't forget that. Now, check this out. So I had a couple of questions. Did the venture capital, because this is key, there's nothing wrong with the Venture Capital Working Group sending a memo to the SEC. Where this whole thing begins to stink is where it looks like the SEC got with this one group over one digital asset, Ethereum, and did to the exclusion of all other digital assets, instead of getting a bunch of industry participants together that are all wanting to create a framework for all digital assets. That's different. Look at this. So my question is, did the Venture Capital Group just meet with the SEC in 2008 to give a select cryptocurrency safe harbor, or did they include other industry participants? Did the SEC pick winners and losers? And I took screenshots of those that I just showed you. Okay, this one right here you didn't see. While Ether now follows a similar pattern, the coin is still in danger. The group says it has support of many key players. I'd like to know who those key players are. And they're also being called stakeholders. I'm going to do a lot of looking into who the key players behind this were and the stakeholders. Until this sham of a lawsuit is dropped or gone somehow or resolved, I'm going to be focusing a lot of the time on this channel on finding out who the key players were, who the stakeholders were, and who was involved in all of them going to this and basically getting Ethereum a free pass and then all others being blocked out, because that's what it looks like to me. Okay? So, that'll be the whole focus of this channel until this case is resolved. Well, this is me going along towards that focus. Okay? So, first I decided I would start here. This is a video of Chris Dixon, who's a general partner at Andreessen Horowitz. This is this video. I'm going to play you after I explain this. On March 26, 2018, the Venture Capital Working Group, led by Andreessen Horowitz, sends token sale non-exclusive safe harbor to the SEC. On June 8, 2018, is this fireside chat with Chris Dixon, general partner at Andreessen Horowitz. About 6 days later, on the 14th, 2018, Bill Hinman gives Ethereum a free pass. On the 24th of June 2021, Hinman becomes advisory partner at Andreessen Horowitz. Now watch the video of this Chris Dixon.
Very important that there be sensible regulation that stops those.
Don't forget, this is 6 days before Bill Hinman gives the free pass for Ethereum.
But allows for innovation. So I think that's a key thing that needs to happen.
Mm-hmm. And what kind of regulation do you think is that SEC qualifying tokens as securities? Is that, I guess, New York had the beat license thing, which all the Kraken guys and many others hated. Meanwhile, I guess Wyoming is trying to to go rogue and create their own legislation?
Yeah.
I mean, is that...
It's very complicated. There are many regulatory bodies who have, who intersect with this. So, FinCEN, IRS, SEC, CFTC, and it's going to take a while to kind of figure out. But, I guess I'm optimistic about it.
Any preference if you could influence the regulators?
You might have a preference.
Any preference about where that should go, or is that stuff?
Yeah.
This is where you could come in and say, well, we've got this venture capital working group that sent the token sale non-exclusive safe harbor to the SEC on 3/26/2018, and so that's with them, and we've been in talks with them, and our attorneys have been talking to them. But instead, he says this.
Well, I think the key concepts, as I understand them, I don't know. I'm not a lawyer, so I don't want to get too into the details there. But
your lawyers are lawyers, the ones that sent this.
I think the key concept is you have enough room for entrepreneurs to build, like these digital services done in the proper way, but also, protections to make sure that information is symmetric, that someone who's not in Silicon Valley can make an informed, if they decide to buy something for investment purposes, can make an informed decision. So that's where a lot of the regulatory framework. So, for example, there's an important distinction between securities and commodities. Regulators have said that Bitcoin is a commodity, which essentially the idea there is there's no information that like I have about Bitcoin that would give me some advantage in buying Bitcoin over anyone else. Anything I know is from the internet. It's a fully decentralized protocol. Everything's open. And so I think that's some framework where we sort of understand kind of balance, the protections for kind of Main Street investors with enough room for people to innovate.
Let's see what John Deaton said about this. 2 things are required in the United States: term limits for senators, Congress, a 3-year rule that prevents a regulator from immediately joining a market participant that regulator was in charge of regulating. The revolving door at the SEC, for example, is disgusting. And then Rob Licker says, should be about public service, not lining of pockets. Okay, and so then we have this. John Deaton had tweeted this out. He gave me the winning tweet of the week. He gave me a title and the winning tweet of the week this week. And that was my whistleblower alert where I was letting Gary Gensler know that Ethereum 2.0 is a security. All right. And then I got to fly through this. My wife's calling. In fact, let me answer it. 1 second. Hey, all right. Let me finish my thoughts here, and then I'll call my wife back. Now, this is interesting, and it's important. Yahoo Finance has picked up the story because Charles Gasparino picked it up, and now Yahoo Finance is starting to get it. This is their senior reporter. This is how the SEC regulates. Crypto investors wary as Coinbase fight heats up, regulators circle. I would say that everybody's circling Gary Gensler here, and it's well-deserved because what they're doing is not right. They aren't providing much in the way of proactive guidance, but rather leaving founders to read the tea leaves based on enforcements. But the enforcements are patchy and scattered. And then Charles Gasparino says, remember who started reporting this first? And he's talking about, he's retweeting that article, and he's right. Charles Gasparino deserves the credit here. Now, he was also on Twitter with one of his colleagues at Fox today talking about the Ripple case. Listen, this thing's kind of funny on something about these Twitter streams. They just don't work very good. Let me see if I can get it to the spot where I was. Let's go right here.
Do this. So, hello, everybody. Welcome back to our Twitter Live. My name is Ellie Terrett, and I'm joined on this lovely Friday afternoon by Fox Business senior correspondent Charlie Gasparino. Charlie, I want to talk to you about some of the stories that you were covering this week. The biggest one, I think, was crypto regulation. You've been diving deep into a case about Ripple, involving Ripple and the SEC. Tell me what's going on there.
Well, this week I did Ripple. Next week I'm going to look at the Coinbase fiasco. I mean, here's the thing. I'm old enough to remember, and you're not, how the government handled the advent of the internet. I mean, the internet clearly was controversial in some respects. It was used in parts for nefarious means. We know that. There was a bubble in some of the stocks. All that sort of stuff was there with the internet. Yet the government at the time, the Clinton administration, Republicans in Congress, and Arthur Levitt, who was the SEC chair at the time, they did not stifle the internet. They didn't just crack down on everything. And yeah, they made some mistakes, and there was a lot of hype, and people lost money. But because there was like clear rules of the road, you know, in terms of what you can hype and what you can't, how you can't do certain things, the internet prospered, and that's why we have some of the greatest companies this country has ever created: Amazon, Apple, Google, Facebook, you name it. Now, contrast that to what's going on right now with crypto. It doesn't take a rocket science to figure out that this could be the next internet. The blockchain technology could just transform how we buy and sell stuff seamlessly and things of that nature. Yet we have this bizarre regulatory framework which is existing, where it's sort of like, it's bizarre because no one knows the rules of the road. The SEC seems intent to regulate this thing in a turf war fashion based on enforcement actions. The debate is over not whether companies like Coinbase or Ripple are ripping people off, because they're not, but whether, you know, the sort of cryptos that run in their platforms, you know, or their sort of digital assets qualify as real digital as currencies or securities regulated by the SEC. And lo and behold, if the SEC thinks it's a security, well, then they're gonna screw with you, and the whole thing is stifling innovation. By the way, I understand that, you know, the SEC wants to regulate securities, but think about some of these cases. They are dinging people, right, for not registering as a security. They're not, like, Ripple didn't get whacked because it like created some sort of a platform to sell drugs. You know, this is not like Silk Road. You know, they got dinged because somehow they didn't XRP was somehow used, which they have an interest in or a connection to, somehow used to finance part of the Ripple network. So I'm telling you, I'm not taking sides here, and what I'm worried about, and just clearly not just me, policymakers are starting to worry about this. Congress is starting to worry about this. That the way the SEC is going about this is going to stifle the innovation. Already, as you know, Ripple is moving stuff overseas. You know, we've been reporting that out. I mean, that's not good. We don't want to seed a new technology. You know, seed it meaning give it away to people overseas and let the Chinese win. I mean, that's the last thing you really want. So, by the way, I'm going to write about this in my New York Post column on Sunday. It'll be interesting to see what type of feedback. But I'm getting this not just from, you know, crypto advocates. Securities lawyers who used to work for the SEC are sitting there telling me this is insane. I mean, it's just there's a turf battle between the CFTC and this SEC. What really needs to happen is what Hester Pierce, the crypto mom, the commissioner, the SEC commissioner, says: moratorium on all this garbage, all this enforcement. Obviously, if people are using crypto to sell drugs, that's a DOJ, you know, that's an FBI issue. I get it. Go after them. Or if they're using crypto to shake people down, I get it. You know, they take that out. But on these sort of enforcement actions that are sort of, you know, over the top, you know, obviously people creating fake cryptos and stealing money, and that's a whole other ball of wax. But on some of this regulation enforcement stuff, call it moratorium. And here's what they should do. They should have people from they should set up a way to regulate this between the Treasury, maybe the Fed, but definitely the SEC and definitely the CFTC, and get together and put some rules of the road. And I think that might happen, because I think Congress might even step in and do something like that. And that's needed here. If you think crypto and blockchain is necessary, they're going to have to stop doing what they're doing. And they're going to have to stop harassing companies like Ripple and Coinbase that are, I mean, if you look at the thing that Coinbase wants to do, it seems like a pretty prosaic product. I mean, they're you know, they want to lend out your, you know, through sort of like a bank. You have your account with Coinbase. They want to lend out your crypto and make a spread between what they pay you and what they're lending out. I mean, it's okay. That's what banks do. I get that might be a security. It might not. You know, I've seen both sides of the story there. But the SEC just shut down that business. It might be a good business. So and then the Ripple thing is crazy because Ripple's a good. I mean, Ripple does cross-border transactions. I'm sure there's some bad stuff going on their platform, but that's a different story. That's like if you allow purposely, you know, the Cali drug cartel to do cross-border transactions on the Ripple network, that is facilitating drug dealing, and that's illegal. You know, the technology is not legal. If you think about it, you know, Google. I'm sure there's some ways that people use Google to do illegal stuff, but that doesn't mean you shut down Google. You get the guys that are doing bad stuff on Google, and because Google generally is a good thing. And
do you
that's
think
the way
that?
I look at it, and I think that's the way a lot of people are looking at it. And that's why you're getting the massive pushback that you're getting now from people that are involved in crypto and even others who don't even know what a cryptocurrency is or barely. They know the law, and they're fighting back against some of this insanity.
Do you think that the outcome of this case, the SEC versus Ripple, do you think that could set a precedent for perhaps how crypto is regulated down the line?
Yeah, I mean, listen, I'm not an expert, but when I talk to securities lawyers that are involved in this stuff, yes, it can. And, you know, if the SEC steps out too far, it's going to get its ass smacked back. And here's what would happen. I'm going to give you an analogy because I covered white-collar crimes for years. When the Justice Department started cracking down on insider trading, they pushed the envelope, and it was the U.S. Attorney for the Southern District, a guy named Preet Baraha. He's not he's not the U.S. Attorney for the Southern District anymore. This was during the Obama years, where he pushed too far on what is an illegal inside trade. And by the way, we don't have enough time to get into all the details of insider trading. But because he pushed too far, the court smacked him back, and he set back insider trading prosecution a lot. Now it's more difficult to bust people on insider trading. Courts have ruled that. So the SEC has a chance. You know, if it's playing with fire, if it pushes too hard on this stuff. You know, again, I'm not a lawyer. You know, I'm looking at it saying, you know, we're getting into the weeds when we start saying, well, that's a security because Ripple used XRP to finance some of its infrastructure on the Ripple network, but Ether is not a security; it's a currency because Ethereum no longer uses it, but may have used it in the past. That's kind of where we are here, and it sounds a little. It sounds like we're basically debating how many angels can dance on the head of a pin here a little bit. So listen, I'm all for regulation. Crypto needs regulating. It needs something coherent that we don't have now.
All right, I thought that was a great clip. A little long, but that's okay. iTrustCapital tweeted this out today. We have some news coming out about Flare Networks. Tune in Monday. And then, so I just wanted to bring anybody who hasn't opened an iTrustCapital account, if you're eligible, you ought to at least check it out. I have 2 IRAs with them, and if you have an old job or you're quitting a job or getting laid off, you can roll 401ks into your IRA there, and you can invest in crypto. They have all kinds of crypto. You can see them right here. Those links are in the description. I even have a month off, a coupon for a month free on there. So I'm the digital asset investor. I'm not an investment advisor. This is for entertainment purposes only. Please subscribe, hit the like button, tell your friends and family to go check out iTrustCapital.